You know what's worse than being cheated on? Planning a life with someone while they're sneaking around with the one person you thought was out of the picture. That was me, living a lie and calling it love. At 32, I had everything lined up. A solid career at a major financial firm, promising future, and what I thought was a stable relationship. I wasn't bragging, just proud. 6 years ago, I met Sandy at a conference, one of those chance encounters that turns into something real. We clicked instantly, and a few months later, we were official. I thought I'd found the one. Her 29th birthday came around, and I proposed. She said yes, eyes wide with joy. That moment used to make me smile. Now it curdles in my chest. What was once a sweet memory now feels like a cruel joke, like biting into something that's turned bad. As we moved toward marriage, I noticed something I had brushed off before. Sandy had this habit whenever she felt too shy to share certain things with friends. She'd dump them on me instead. Most of the time, these were stories about her past hookups. I'd heard more than I ever wanted to know about her exes, especially one Chris. Yeah, Chris, the toxic guy who, apparently, rocked her world in bed. She told me way too much about him early on, and even though I tried to shrug it off, those details stuck with me. I didn't need to hear about his skills, especially when I started comparing myself without even realizing it. Eventually, I told her to stop. I didn't want to hear that stuff anymore, and to her credit, she did. Chris faded from our conversations, and I naively assumed that meant he was gone from her life. Stupid me. Fast forward to the engagement period. I wanted a small wedding, friends and family, nothing flashy, but our parents and Sandy wanted the work's big venue, scenic location, the whole deal. I caved. I let them take over. I figured, hey, what mattered was marrying her, not where we did it. Sandy said she'd check out venues with a friend. That didn't raise a red flag. She'd gone with friends to pick caterers and try on dresses too. It all seemed normal. She mentioned an old church that stood out to her and said she'd revisit it with the same friend to be sure. Oh, again, I thought nothing of it. I trusted her. God, I trusted her. A few days later, the venue was locked in. I paid the deposit. We were rolling forward like any other couple heading into married life. Wedding planning continued without a hitch until the day I saw the notification. Sandy had gone to sign for a package and left her phone on the kitchen island. It buzzed. "Chris, you there, babe?" My blood ran cold. Was it that Chris? Surely not. Maybe some desperate ex still hanging on. Maybe she was ignoring him. I told myself to wait, not jump to conclusions, but 10 days later, when she left to look at flower arrangements and forgot her phone, I didn't hesitate. I opened her messages and searched Chris. They'd been talking. A lot. Flirty banter, wedding talk, and then I saw it. He mentioned how beautiful the venue was, how they should go back there, just the two of them. That's when it hit me. He was the friend she'd gone with. She never said a name, and now I knew why. I kept scrolling, past emojis and teasing lines, then sexts, loads of them, pictures, things no engaged woman should be sending to anyone, let alone an ex. The worst part, it started right after their second trip to the church venue. What a sacred moment to begin betraying someone. I couldn't even tell if they had slept together, but the way they talked, she definitely didn't regret anything. That alone said enough. Then I heard the door unlock. I could have pretended I didn't see anything, could have dropped the phone, but I didn't. I stayed seated, her phone open in my hand. She walked in, eyes wide, fake smile stretching across her face, trying to play it cool with a nervous, "What you doing?" Too late. She saw Chris's name on the screen. Her face dropped like a mask falling off. "You went through my phone," she snapped. "Really?" "Yes," I said flatly. She tried to flip it. I was the villain now. I just laughed. It probably looked unhinged, because she stepped back. I wasn't sure if she was afraid or just shocked that I wasn't yelling. "You got a message from your lover when you were signing for that package." I said, "That's why I checked. Don't try to guilt me. You were cheating. Don't twist this." She stammered, denied, played dumb. I leaned in. "I know you slept with him. It was a bluff." But my gut screamed it was true. No, "I didn't," she whispered. "Stop lying." Again, she denied it. I pushed the phone toward her and said the words that sealed it. "I can't marry a liar." That broke her. She collapsed into tears. "It was just once," she sobbed. "Just once you sexted him. You're still talking to him." I said, disgusted. "It's only a mistake because you got caught." She kept trying to touch me, to hold me, but I shoved her hands away. I could barely stand to be near her. It hit me all at once how easily she could have married me and kept this going. How I could have lived a lie, had I not seen that one message. I went to the bedroom, yanked her suitcase out, and started throwing her things into it. She wailed behind me, begging, crying, pleading, but I was numb. No more anger, just cold, dead disappointment. "Give me the ring," I said. She froze. Her eyes widened like she'd seen a ghost, and maybe she had because the man who loved her, he was gone. She hesitated, then quietly removed the ring and placed it in my hand. She didn't even fight it. Not a tear, not a scream, not a word. When I handed her that suitcase, filled with whatever belongings I could shove in during the storm of betrayal I'd just weathered, she just left, quiet, like some ghost who knew she'd been exorcised from a place she didn't belong. That night, I shut the door, killed the lights, and drank until the world blurred into nothingness. No tears, no screaming. I just wanted the noise in my head to stop. The next morning, the silence shattered with a barrage of missed calls. Hers, her parents, mine. I didn't even bother picking up. I already knew she must have told them the wedding was off, but I doubted she'd admitted why. Cowards rarely own up to their shame. I couldn't stomach the idea of people giving me sympathy, or worse, telling me we could work it out. So I did the one thing no one expected. I created a group chat. I added everyone, her parents, mine, her siblings, even Sandy herself. And then I detonated the truth. I laid it all out. The messages, the sexts, the lies, the betrayal. I didn't sugarcoat a damn thing. If they were going to mourn the canceled wedding, they needed to understand what they were really mourning, a foundation built on deceit. It was radio silence for a full hour. No one said a word, but I could see they'd read it, Sandy included. Then finally, my dad called. "Son, I'm sorry. You made the right choice. It'll hurt, but it was the right choice." That stuck with me. Not just because it was support, but because it reminded me that even when pain screams loud in your chest, dignity whispers louder. I clung to that. More messages followed. Some people called. Some texted. I ignored most. My mind was made up. And that, more or less, was the end of the wedding. Her parents. They never said a word to me. Maybe they had the decency to recognize what Sandy had done. Maybe they just didn't have the stomach to defend her. Either way, I didn't care. It wasn't enough, because deep down, I wanted her to hurt like I did, calling off a wedding that was just a consequence. I wanted it to burn. I wanted her to feel every ounce of pain, humiliation, and betrayal that I had tasted. At first, I wanted to go after Chris, but I didn't know where to start. No info, no social media trails, so I hoped naively that Sandy, now that her entire family knew what she did, would cut him off out of sheer shame. But even that didn't feel like enough. That's when the idea came to me. We weren't together anymore. I could sleep with whoever I wanted. And if I really wanted revenge, I had two options: sleep with someone she loved, or sleep with someone she hated. Guess which path I chose. Sleeping with someone she loved would have been messy, too emotional. But sleeping with people she despised, that was psychological warfare. Think about it. What would cut deeper than knowing your ex-fiancée was sleeping with women you loathed? Not just any women, but the ones you ranted about, the ones who lived rent-free in your head. That would wreck her. So I made a list. At the top, Sophia, the coworker she always hated. She claimed Sophia acted like she was better than everyone else. Translation: Sandy felt threatened by her, probably because Sophia was hot. Then there was Melissa, a college friend turned mortal enemy. Their fallout. Melissa had slept with one of Sandy's exes. Ironic, huh? And finally, Toki, a dainty, soft-spoken Japanese girl. Sandy said she hated because she acted cute and all the guys loved her. Perfect targets. Sophia was easy. LinkedIn gave me her workplace. From there, I found her on Instagram. My page, let's just say it's curated well. Designer clothes, my Audi, exotic vacations, I play the part. She followed me back within minutes. A little small talk, a little charm, and we had a date lined up. I made sure to take photos, classy ones, flirty ones, obvious ones. Let's just say the date had a happy ending. Next up, Melissa. This one was trickier. She lived 2 states away. Still, I slid into her DMs. Problem was, she recognized me. Guess I showed up in Sandy's posts. But instead of backing off, I leveled with her. I told her Sandy and I were done, that I didn't love her, that I wanted someone who could share my hate. Melissa. She jumped on it, even started a voice call right then. I hated her too. She said, "You could sleep with me." And we did. I flew out. We went bowling. Took more pictures, the kind you don't put on Instagram, and she even let me take some very suggestive shots. Let's just say Sandy seriously underestimated Melissa's spite. Then came Toki. This one took time. I found her on Tinder. Rare name. Easy match. We messaged. She was slow to respond. Took a while to set a date. But after 3 outings, things got physical. And yes, more photos. All taken with her consent. I wasn't about to sink to Sandy's level of deception. In total, 6 weeks. 6 weeks of calculated, cold, brutal payback. Did I feel like a psychopath a little? Did I care? Not even slightly. Then came the final play. I texted Sandy out of the blue. Took her hours to respond. But she did. Small talk. I told her I wanted to meet. Didn't say why, just dangled the idea. She probably thought we were reconciling. She offered to meet in 15 minutes. I said 3 hours. I wanted her squirming with anticipation. When I showed up at the park, she was already there, dressed nicely, hope in her eyes. I let her hug me. Then I pulled out my phone. Take a look. Her eyes locked onto the screen, first Sophia, then her and me together. She blinked. What is this? She scrolled. Toki. I smiled and said casually, she was a lot of fun. I saw her break. Her eyes watered. Then Melissa. First bowling. Then that video. She watched it on loop. 3 times. None of them were as bad as you made them seem. I said, in fact, they were all better than you, especially where it mattered most. That's when she exploded. She shot up, started yelling, calling me a scumbag, trash, piece of crap, you name it. Her voice cracked with fury, her hands trembling, finger jabbing at the air like she wanted to punch a hole in the sky. You made it seem like you were a saint, she screamed, but you're worse than me. I stood up, calm as ever, and said, I stared her dead in the eyes and said, I wasn't the one who ran back to an ex, slept with him, and kept him warm in your inbox while we were engaged. You did that. That's why we're not getting married. So if you're angry, don't waste it on me, aim it squarely at yourself. I didn't shout. I didn't even sneer. My voice was calm, controlled. I stood up slowly, brushing off invisible dust, like I was done with something dirty I never wanted to touch again. And this is what you deserve, Sandy, I said softly. And then she broke. The confident, smug woman who thought she could have her ex and a fiancé too. She crumbled. She started crying again. But this time it wasn't out of guilt or manipulation. It was the cry of someone who finally understood what they'd lost. And for the first time since I found that message on her phone, I felt peace. That look on her face shattered, helpless, drowning in her own mess that was my closure. No ring, no wedding, no vows, just truth. Cold, clear, undeniable. She hasn't reached out since, not on her birthday, not even with some pitiful attempt at rekindling things. And you know what? I prefer it that way. I've moved on, not just from her, but from the fantasy I used to cling to that someone like her could never cheat, that love was immune to betrayal. She shattered that illusion for me, and in a way, I'm grateful. Look, I'm not saying my path is for everyone. I'm not proud of everything I did, but I don't regret it either. I was lucky. I dodged a lifetime of lies by catching it just before the wedding, but not every man is that lucky. So if you're in a relationship and you feel that itch, that gnawing suspicion in your gut, don't ignore it. If you have to check their phone, check it. Because trust should never feel like a gamble. And living with someone who gives you anxiety every time their phone lights up, that's not love. That's a slow emotional death. Get out if you can, sooner, not later. I survived my storm. And if you're in one now, brother, I hope you make it out too, with your head high and your soul intact. Now, some people hear this story and don't know whether to laugh or be disturbed. I get it. My reaction wasn't normal. I didn't cry into a tub of ice cream or beg her to explain. I laughed, because the absurdity of it all, the betrayal, the lies, the way she tried to flip it on me was almost comical. And maybe, yeah, it is a little unhinged to turn a breakup into a full-blown revenge mission. But I never claimed to be a saint. 3 women, 3 enemies of hers, 1 shattered illusion. Call it petty, call it brilliant, call it closure, but whatever you call it, it worked. She thought I was going to marry her. Instead, I gave her a scrapbook of her own hatred. So now it's your turn. What do you think? Did I go too far? Or did she get exactly what she deserved? Let me know in the comments below. This story is a brutal, emotionally charged reminder that betrayal doesn't just break trust, it reshapes identity. One of the most painful experiences a person can endure is discovering that the person they loved, trusted, and envisioned a future with was never truly on the same page. Yet within that pain lies a powerful life lesson. Trust should never be blind, and love should never come at the expense of self-respect. The protagonist's journey shows how destructive emotional deception can be, especially when hidden behind the mask of normalcy and wedding plans. It also illustrates the importance of listening to your gut, even when your heart wants to ignore the signs. The story warns us not to let fear of confrontation or desire for harmony keep us in situations that chip away at our dignity. Perhaps the most sobering takeaway is this betrayal doesn't always come in dramatic scenes. It often creeps in subtly, through secrecy, pet names from the past, and lies told through omission. And while revenge may not be the healthiest path, the core message remains: acknowledge your worth, set your boundaries, and never let betrayal go unanswered. Sometimes closure comes not from forgiveness, but from clarity, and from knowing that walking away no matter how late is still better than tying yourself to someone who would choose another behind your back. Ultimately, this story teaches us that strength is not always loud. Sometimes it's found in quiet resolve, the kind that packs a suitcase, ends a lie, and rebuilds a life with eyes wide open. Be vigilant with your heart, and courageous enough to choose truth over illusion, no matter how painful that truth may be. Thanks for sticking with me through this emotional roller coaster. If this story gave you a new perspective, made you feel something, or even just reminded you of your own worth, comment 1 down below to let us know you got value from it. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another powerful story like this one. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, share the video with them. You never know who might need it. Lastly, I want to hear from you. What did this story make you feel? Anger, relief, empathy, vindication. Drop your thoughts in the comments I read, everyone. Until next time, stay strong, stay honest, and never settle for less than you deserve.